Hello everyone, I am Kurs, this is Low Mana and welcome to Comicwatch, the series where we look into the lore and speculation around Blizzard's Overwatch comics. Much like with my short watch and infiltration a couple of weeks back, it's been a while since Comicwatch saw the light of day, but we're expecting some more comics coming up in the not too distant future, so it felt like time to get back into it. This time round by looking into Junkrat and Roadhog and their comic, Going Legit. The opening scene setter gives us a quick look into the Australian recovery since the Omnic crisis, where we know their coastal cities were hit extremely hard by the war. Sydney here appears to have done a brilliant job at regenerating itself in the years since Overwatch ended the crisis. The harbour seems mostly unchanged in terms of layout, the Opera House is intact albeit now partially gold for some reason, and numerous big companies seem to now reside in the many skyscrapers here. Contrast this with the Rio skyline we see at the start of Symmetra's comic, and we get a feeling that Sydney is doing pretty well for itself. Among the companies are a few familiar names, from Coffee Aromo, who seems certain to be a global coffee company, Axiom, who we know very little of by their slogan, Building the Future, and Mecha, the mobile exo force of the Korean army, D.Va's employers. Quite why a military wing of a foreign nation would need a skyscraper in Sydney, I have no idea, but there you go. Later on in the comic we also catch a quick glimpse of the name Ironclad Guild, the mechanical and engineering organisation that Torbjorn and Sven were members of. In short, Sydney has recovered very well, and from that we can assume the other coastal cities of Australia have followed suit. This came at a price though, with the government's deal with the Omnics to gift them the land around the Outback Omnium, eventually leading to the creation of Junkertown and the Junkers, something that will come back to bite them in this comic. Going Legit is quite challenging to place in the timeline. We know recently Junkrat and Roadhog have been touring the world on a seemingly never-ending crime spree, taking in Kings Row, Dorado, Paris, Japan, and many more. What's less clear is exactly why and when they left Australia, or if they ever went back. Beyond being chased by mercs out for the knowledge of what Junkrat found in the Omnium, there's not much that drives the duo to go anywhere in particular, so it could be either at the beginning, end, or maybe even the middle of their crime wave. Either way, they're being offered the chance to go legit by an elderly chap who appears to be a very senior member of Hyde Global, a company we've not seen anywhere else, but one that appears to be involved in drone manufacturing. Seems they've fallen on hard times financially, which is a little odd given their skyscraper is still under construction by the looks of it. Indeed, other workers aren't even on site until construction is finished, so it's new. But they need capital to survive. The guy, aka the Suit, who recruits the Junkers is extremely arrogant, from the cover of Fame magazine with his face in it on the wall, the Mr. Burns styling, through to his description of himself as an honest businessman whose kindness, social sensibilities and boundless humility make him a target. He's also cunning and manipulative, knowing exactly what buttons to push to get Junkrat and Roadhog to do what he wants, going out of his way to state that it's Omnic terrorists that have taken his work as hostage, using the hatred the Junkers have for Omnics as leverage. Although, to be fair, the promise of chaos, explosions and money alone probably would have been enough. The Suit would know of Junkrat's reputation for destruction, and asking for a quiet job was purely for effect. This becomes pretty obvious when we see his extremely subtle network of plastic explosives that he's created around the building they've been sent to, along with the pile he's just gathered on the roof. His lack of subtlety is obviously part of the Suit's plan as he attracts the attention of the general public, who of course call the police. It's all part of his insurance fraud. The dynamic between the Junkers is of interest as well throughout. There's definitely a Jay and Silent Bob vibe between them, with Roadhog clearly the more intelligent of the two, while content to let Junkrat do the talking. This is the only place they play out like this, as while he's hardly loquacious, Roadhog does talk in other mediums. Only in this comic is he silent. Given they're both Junkers, they have an inbuilt hatred of both Omnics and Suits from the history of Junkertown, so it says a lot that Junkrat is dumb enough to fall for the words of this particular Suit just because he offers them cash and the chance to blow up some Omnics. The most interesting bit is the line, "Bet they still want to play nice with those scrap heaps, like that worked out for Overwatch." Perhaps it's no surprise that the Junkers would associate Overwatch's downfall with Omnics, and we have plenty of evidence that Overwatch encouraged friendly relations between humanity and Omnics after the crisis. But it's still an odd sentence. It's a stretch to be sure, but could Junkrat know something about the fall that others don't? We don't know what he found in the heart of the Omnium after all, and while this is one hell of a long shot, it isn't impossible. What do you think? Either way, it's Roadhog that realises the drones in the Hyde warehouse were drones and not Omnics. He's also the only one that remembered any mention of Quietly or hostages, thankfully the hostages were fictional. Junkrat is far too obsessed with blowing things sky high, and he revels in the destruction, his pyromaniac tendencies and general insanity showing through. It isn't until the cops show up and Roadhog somehow communicates with him that Junkrat realises the truth, and with his old anti-Suit prejudice kicking in, he wants revenge. He does show a soft spot for Roadhog though, in spite of inciting him throughout, he doesn't like anybody else doing it, which is kinda cool. The dark and arguably evil side of the pair shows through at the end of the comic though, with the calculated murder of the suit and the destruction of the whole skyscraper, and presumably damaging a chunk of the surrounding Sydney infrastructure around it. It's really easy to think of Junkrat and Roadhog as this lovable, bumbling, chaotic duo that commit amusing crimes like those shown in A Moment in Crime, but they're really a lot more violent than that, and I suppose growing up or living in a place as ruthless as Junkertown, they'd have to be. Thanks for watching this episode of Comicwatch, and as always, thoughts, feelings and theories in the comments below are very welcome. It's a bit of a lore-like comic really, but I'd love to know if you think I've missed anything important. You can check out the lore behind Junkrat and Roadhog in their Lorewatch here, along with another video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Until next time, I've been Kers, thanks for watching.